Currently, the Bullseye app generates a target value for the player to aim for. The player can then move the slider as close as they can to the target value, then tap the Hit Me button. This triggers the button's action to display the alert dialog with the slider's value. All that's left is to find a way to calculate the player score. We need to create a self-contained action called calculate score. Now, where do we put the code to calculate the score? Remember, actions in Kotlin are represented as functions, so in this case, we'll put the code inside a new function. We've used functions that have parameters, that is, when we call them, we pass in some inputs known as arguments. This time around, we'll be creating a type of function that returns an output otherwise known as a return value. To do that, you simply create a function like this that adds a type after the parenthesis in the function definition. The colon here introduces the type. You may have seen this colon syntax in the main activity class, and it is used to define a type. So a function that returns an integer has a return type of integer. Then inside the curly braces, you add the code that forms the body of the function. This will be the logic that results in the final return value. Then as the last line of code in the function, you return the value using the return keyword followed by the value. The value must match the return type of the function. So, if the method definition says it returns an integer, then you can return stuff like 2, 52, 200, or any other integer value. Note, the return value must be the last line of the function, otherwise you will encounter an error. Now you're going to create a new function just above the showResult function. Enter the following code. You can see it returns an integer value 999 for now. And this is because of the return type of the function in the declaration. This function will return the value that will be displayed as part of the dialog message. Let's head over to the string.xml file. The result dialog message string currently has one placeholder for a value to be passed in. Let's add the remaining string and the second placeholder for the score. Update the string to the following. Inside the updated string, you added a \n, which is a new line character. This would push the text after it to the next line. Then, you added the rest of the message text to the string and placed a second placeholder inside it. This is denoted with the number 2. Go back to the main activity file. As you can see, the code inside the showResult function is already showing an error because it is now expecting a second argument. To solve this, you need to pass in the call to the function you just created as the second argument of the getString function for the dialog message. Do that now. If your code is becoming too long and crossing the vertical guideline, you go to the menu above. Then you click on Code, then select Reformat Code. This helps you format your code to make it more readable. In this case, it brings the call to getString to the next line. Run your app once again to try it out. You can see the score returned from the new function we just created is displayed correctly as a message in the dialog.